Will everyone please rise for the invocation by the Right Reverend Matthew F. Hyde, Archbishop of the Episcopal Diocese of New York.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Almighty God, we pray in celebration and we gather in gratitude for all that's been accomplished here through early morning classes, late night studies, and every moment in between. We give thanks for these graduates, for the questions they have carried, for the discoveries they have made, the ways they have changed this community simply by their presence. May they go from here not only with knowledge, but with kindness, the willingness to see the person before them, to receive the stranger with welcome, to use what they have learned not only for their advantage only, but for the flourishing of the world. May they go with a passion for justice, the kind that is patient enough to understand, fierce enough to act, and humble enough to know that the work is never finished. May they go with wisdom, not the sum of what they've studied, but a gift that comes from listening, from sitting with difficulty, from learning what the heart knows that the mind has not yet named. And now we pray for those who remain, for this entire college, for those who teach and those who administer, for those who arrive in the fall and those who arrive after them. Every season, every community passes through seasons of transition. And transition asks something hard of us, to grieve what is ending, even as we open to what is beginning, to honor what has been without holding so tightly to it that we cannot receive the gift that comes next. May this place be one where the work of learning is also a work of love, where those who ask hard questions find companions for the asking, where those who stumble find hands offered, not withdrawn, where every person is treated with the dignity that their humanity demands. Gracious God, in all your beautiful names, and for the sake of your whole world, we pray. Amen.
Please be seated. Welcome all to Bard College's 166th commencement. I'm proud to be the first to congratulate you on graduating from this remarkable institution. I'm Brandon Weber, the newly elected chair of the Board of Trustees. From class of 1997, you all have your Bard origin story. Mine started with a black pamphlet in the mail, the A Place to Think document. Do they still have A Place to Think? Is that same one? Perusing this manual to liberal arts education, I read that there were some unique scholarship opportunities and took it to my dad. You all have your origin story, but so do your parents and caretakers. For the parents, each of you here today probably remembers when your kids said they wanted to go to a school of 2,000 children on the Hudson River in upstate New York. You might have had your doubts. When I went to my dad in our kitchen in Kansas, and I can see it to this day, and I told him I was interested in this small liberal arts school in New York, he was circumspect, at best. I believe his words were, "I don't think that's such a good idea." At that time, Bard only had 1,000 students. which is a testament to the remarkable growth of the institution. Then I told him about these interesting and unique scholarships that I might be able to get. He started to think it was a pretty good idea. And then not much later, it became his idea. I participated in the Immediate Decision Plan, or IDP. My theory was that it would increase my chances of receiving a scholarship. The IDP is another innovative BARD idea that aims to broaden access to education. Leon dreamt it up in a car with a number of other BARD legends. It's one of the institution's entries in a long line of efforts to democratize education. Today, that line includes the network of 10 BARD high school early colleges across 6 cities, the BARD Prison Initiative, plus a variety of other adult education programs. My parents and I jumped in the car on a bright January day to complete the 1,300-mile drive for my IDP appointment. Not 200 miles in, the car died. We had a hole in the radiator. My father, born on the farm in Wellington, Kansas, near the border with Oklahoma, patched it with a dime, some leather, and glue. The mechanics at the repair shop, right across on 9W, were amazed. Evidently, it was meant to be. Except for then it snowed about a foot. We almost died on the same said 9W. And my mom slipped and fell on campus 3 times, once right in front of Klein, once back here, and I can't remember the third. But it all worked out, and I'm forever grateful to the generous donors that made my attendance at BARD possible. Today, 25% of students at BARD are Pell eligible, which brings a level of socioeconomic diversity that is highly unusual for a school of this reputation. When I arrived at BARD in the fall of 1993, the Robin Venturi designed Stevenson addition to the library, that's the yellow part there, had just been completed, as was the Stevenson Gymnasium across the way. Today, with 20% of students participating in athletics, we are planning a new field house and wellness center. Rose, science building up there, was the new cutting-edge science facility. Rafael Vignoli's Ream Caden, BARD's new magnificent science center, was but a dream. And we're currently planning a new science building, plus an update of Rose. The other BARD pantheons would come after my time, such as the Hessel Museum, the Fisher Center designed by Frank Gehry, and the new Milan building. Together, they are a testament to BARD's continued excellence in the arts. I, of course, relished my time at BARD, the intellectual freedom, exposure to so many unique and interesting people, the tight bonds with faculty. I also met my wife here, which puts me in a proud fraternity of BARD coupling. She's over there today with my twin 16-year-olds who have to figure college out here quite soon. She was here on the program in international education from Slovenia. It's another unique opportunity that BARD offered. It was funded in part by George Soros, and it continued an unmatched level of giving to BARD by people with no affiliation to the institution, who are drawn by its distinctive mission and to Leon's vision. This program, along with Smolny in Russia, was one of BARD's earliest connections to international education. Smolny was shut down in 2021, being deemed an undesirable organization by the Russian regime. Today, BARD's education endeavors run the globe and include the only internationally run program in the West Bank without Quds. BARD Berlin, which has been a key force in accommodating refugees from war-torn areas. Plus programs in Kyrgyzstan and Burma, among others. There's no other school like BARD, and your time here puts you in a unique group that will always carry with it a special connection. Even today, whenever I step in a room, if there's a Bardian there, they are the most interesting person. I welcome you today as fellow alumni. None of this would have been possible without the leadership of President Leon Botstein. Through a sparse beginning, and many lean years, the commitment to the core of what a liberal arts education means in society drove the vision and the outside philanthropic support required to sustain it. Today, we face challenging demographics, wild disparities in wealth across institutions, and attacks on higher education. And nowhere in that landscape is there a college president who has done more or done more good than Leon Botstein. It is my pleasure to introduce him with a thanks of the Board of Trustees for 51 years of service at his last commencement, but with our anticipation of his continued involvement in the college as president emeritus and helping to secure a robust future for Bard.
Thank you, Brendan. I want, first and foremost, let's give a hand to the class of 2026. This is a terrific class, and so I'd like to ask those of you who are first-generation recipients of a college degree to stand. We have a group of sanctuary students. There's a small ceremony this morning, and they come from the American University of Central Asia and other places around the world. Those of you who are sanctuary students, please stand. I want particularly to thank Bishop Hyde for his work with us in getting Ali released from ICE this semester. As Brandon pointed out, we have a variety of programs that are grouped together. So those of you who are graduating today, who come to us through the Prison Initiative and the micro colleges, please stand. We live in a time where we have turned our back on immigrants and students from abroad. So I'd like to ask all of those who are graduating today, who are come to us from a country not the United States, please stand. So this is a joyous education, which is about all of you. But you don't come here alone. So I wondered if the crowd here would cooperate. I would like those of you who came to this commencement from within 50 miles of Bard to stand. Within 50 miles. Those of you who live within 50 miles. How many of you come from within 100 miles? And how many of you, family and friends, have come more than 100 miles to witness people graduating? Among the thanks that we should give are to the staff of the college, the people whom we never see, who make this event possible. So the staff of the college, our staff at Buildings and Grounds, our staff in Environmental Services, in security, and perhaps the most difficult of all assignments, food service. Now, I want to warn you that this is a very long afternoon. And we give degrees out alphabetically. And we want to admonish everybody who has a relative or friend with a last name starting with A to stay till someone with the last name starting with Z gets their degree. This is also, whether we like it or not, a ceremony marked by speaking, by speeches. And I appreciate your patience. And we also give honorary degrees before we give the undergraduate degrees. We did one thing to improve commencement. We had a graduate commencement in the morning for all the graduate programs, which makes this a focus on the AA and BA degrees. And I want to thank one of our honorary degree recipients, Thomas Rosenbaum, the president of Caltech, who gave the address in the morning. I didn't remember to say that we have a strange relationship with Caltech over many years because we both vied for the worst sports records in the NCAA. And I got from, where's Tom? I got a Caltech t-shirt when they went to the very bottom and we were second to last. It is now my pleasure to introduce your commencement speaker, who is an extremely distinguished commentator, both in print and on screen. He has the rare skill of articulating complex things without losing their subtlety and with enormous eloquence. And he's one of the few people I know who has actually changed his mind. Now, that doesn't seem very important, but it's more important than we realize. Most people get stuck, like in a road that has a lot of mud, at some point in their life in a set of ideas that they repeat and repeat and repeat. He has been able to rethink issues and change his mind based on the evidence and on the situation of analysis. He's written many, many books, one of them a defense of liberal education. And so we are now home to a new center, the Chang Chafkin Center for Liberal Education and Civic Life. We would like to be in the forefront of the defense of a liberal education, a general education, which all of you have experienced, because we think that is the most practical and the most contributory to the civic life of a democracy. He's written innumerable books and is on CNN. He was born in Mumbai, and he was educated, this is not his fault, at Yale, and which has a prison program, by the way, but it doesn't give Yale credits. Our prison program gives the same degree in the same curriculum at the same level as all the students. He's unbelievably eloquent. He's lived in the Hudson Valley and has a wide-ranging interest in the things we do. And when I thought who would be a terrific speaker at my last commencement at the 50th anniversary of coming here, 51st, I thought Fareed is the perfect choice. I'm very pleased that he accepted. Please join me in welcoming a very distinguished American and figure in the public, intellectual, and political life of this country, Fareed Zakaria.
President Botstein, faculty, graduates, families, friends, and especially the remarkable class of 2026. Thank you for inviting me here. I know Bard College from its extraordinary reputation, but also as a neighbor, since I have spent a good bit of time in this area, especially in Rhinebeck, which is just down the Hudson. In fact, one of my Saturday morning routines is actually to bike here. And I will tell you, my entry this Saturday morning was considerably grander than my usual Saturday morning entry, though what I do love to do on a hot summer day is to go to Holy Cow and get one of their soft serve ice creams. Now, I know Bard, and I know that to hit the right notes here, I need to be intellectually provocative, politically aware, artistically sensitive, historically informed, ecologically conscious, emotionally authentic, and most importantly, brief. I will do my best. Actually, I'm not that nervous. This is my third graduation this year. My daughter Lila graduated from college last week. She's here. My daughter Sophia will graduate from high school in 2 weeks. And you can imagine, for a father, compared to the swirl of emotions those graduations have produced, I think this one is going to be a breeze. So, now Bard has a certain reputation. Other colleges promise to prepare students for the world as it is. Bard, to me, has often seemed more interested in preparing students to question why the world is the way it is in the first place. What a remarkable rise this place has had. 50 years ago, Bard was a small, struggling liberal arts college overlooked by most. Today, it is one of the most distinctive educational institutions in America, perhaps in the world. It's a place that has combined intellectual seriousness with civic engagement, artistic experimentation, and public purpose. You are not just graduating from a college, but from a movement, one that stretches from music conservatories to prison education programs to partnerships across the world. My congratulations on this remarkable transformation. At this point, I need to give you a trigger warning. I've noticed in this commencement season, some graduation speeches have provoked a few boos from some students. So I should probably warn you that I am about to utter the two most provocative letters in the English language today. AI. Feel free to get the booing out of the way. Who knew, right, that the most charged phrase in 2026 would not be about race, gender, or colonial exploitation, but a software program? But here's the twist. I actually do not want to talk about AI. I want to talk to you about HI, human intelligence. Because while artificial intelligence is indeed arriving with astonishing speed and power, we humans are not going anywhere. And at this moment, paradoxically, we have the opportunity to better understand what is essential and unique about being human. Every generation has confronted transformative technologies that seem destined to overwhelm humanity. The printing press, the steam engine, electricity, the internet. Each inspired wonder and panic in equal measure. And now comes the mother of them all, AI, able to write essays, compose music, diagnose diseases, do high-level math, generate videos, pass exams, and converse with alarming fluency. So people naturally ask, what will be left for human beings to do? But perhaps that's the wrong question. The better question is, what does AI tell us about all the things we humans already do and that are distinctive and irreplaceable? The answer, I think, is profoundly helpful. First, consider the sheer miracle of the human brain. A human brain weighs about 3 pounds. It runs on roughly 20 watts of power, about the amount of energy you need to dimly light a refrigerator bulb. 20 watts. Now, training some of the most advanced AI systems in the world requires data centers consuming hundreds of millions of watts of electricity, enough to power entire cities. These facilities stretch across hundreds of acres, filled with giant servers, massive cooling systems, miles and miles of cables. Meanwhile, your 3-pound brain is sitting quietly inside your skull, using less energy than a laptop charger. And yet, it can do things that still baffle machines. A toddler can recognize a face instantly in poor lighting, understand tone and emotion, navigate a crowded room, learn language socially, infer intentions, and grasp context, all effortlessly. We can understand irony, ambiguity, affection, embarrassment, love, shame, humor. We can read a room, we can sense tension in silence. We can detect insincerity in a smile. Machines are astonishingly good at analysis, but we humans do more. We live in a complex world inhabited by other humans. Human beings are social animals, Aristotle told us 2,000 years ago. The computer scientist Yann LeCun has pointed out that human intelligence is not just computation. It is embodied experience, social understanding, emotional cognition, layered over millions of years of evolution. So perhaps we should stop imagining human beings as inferior computers. We are not computers at all. We sometimes reduce intelligence to narrow forms of analytic reasoning, the kind of things machines can optimize. But as the author Michael Pollan reminds us, human consciousness is richer and more mysterious than that. A machine can write a sad poem, but it cannot weep at a funeral. It can generate a love letter, but it cannot fall in love. It can describe fear, but it cannot lie awake at midnight worrying about whether it has wasted its life. And this matters because the most important dimensions of being human are the experiences that we live. The more powerful AI becomes, the more we may discover how much we value the distinctly human. Already, AI-generated novels and essays and paintings and songs and videos are proliferating online by the millions. Technically, they're impressive, but most people don't care very much about them. Look at the sales. Why? Because art is just as much about the human being behind it than about the final product. We relate to art because it comes from another human being. When we read a novel by Dickens or Toni Morrison or Marquez, we do more than consume words arranged elegantly on a page. We enter their consciousness. We care that another human being has struggled, imagined, doubted, hoped, and somehow transformed all this into language. These writings are moving because in some sense, they're imperfect. The greatest poet of the English language, John Keats, spoke of negative capability, meaning the ability for humans to live with uncertainty, doubt, and mystery without the irritable reaching after fact and reason. In Japan, there's this concept of wabi-sabi, which celebrates imperfection, incompleteness, roughness, irregularity. Handmade ceramics are treasured precisely because they bear the mark of the human maker, with asymmetries, uneven glazes, and distortions that reveal individuality and craftsmanship. Broken pottery is sometimes repaired with veins of gold, a practice called kintsugi. The crack shines instead of being hidden. The resulting surface is rough, but what moves us is the visible evidence of frailty and repair. Think about clothing. Machines can mass-produce garments with astonishing precision, but the most expensive clothes are often hand-stitched. Artisanal products are less smooth and polished than machine-made ones, but they are increasingly valued because they were made by the shaky, irregular human hand. We humans don't always seek perfection. Sometimes we seek authenticity. Sometimes we seek soul, a term we can barely define, but we know when we feel it. Sometimes we just want a connection with another human whom we want to know deeply, intimately, warts and all. For decades, society encouraged us to think of human beings primarily as analytic. But perhaps AI is forcing us to rethink that framework, because if machines become vastly better than us at pure analysis, calculation, memorization, and pattern recognition, then what remains uniquely human becomes more visible, not less. And what is that? Empathy, wisdom, judgment, courage, friendship, compassion, humor, love. Pascal once wrote, "The heart has its reasons, which reason does not know." That line feels pretty relevant today. We're entering an age in which rational analysis may increasingly belong to machines, but human beings are gloriously irrational creatures. Think about it. We fall in love with the wrong people. We cry over pretty stupid, sappy songs. We sacrifice for others. We stay loyal to friends. We create religions, nations, poetry, jazz, democracy, and abstract expressionism. No algorithm would have ever invented the blues, steeped in pain and sorrow. No hyper-efficient program would have designed Venice, an absurdly impractical city on stilts. No machine would have ever produced Bard College, and thank God for that. The danger of the AI age is not that machines will become too human, it's that we humans will start trying to become too machine-like. We already see this happening. People increasingly speak about optimizing every dimension of their life: sleep, productivity, networking, branding, performance. Students feel the pressure to turn themselves into perfectly curated resumes. Workers fear being measured against algorithms that will never tire and sleep. But human flourishing is not about optimization. In one of my favorite novels, Katsuo Ishiguro's The Remains of the Day, the butler, Steven, spends his entire life trying to become perfectly efficient, controlled, rational, professional, machine-like. And the tragedy of the novel is that in becoming a perfectly functioning human being, he becomes less human. He loses love, intimacy, authenticity, and moral clarity. The novel makes the reader wonder, what is the value of a perfectly optimized human life if it lacks emotional and moral truth? In fact, A meaningful life is often messy, nonlinear, contradictory, emotional, totally inefficient. The people who shape our lives most profoundly are rarely the most optimized. They're the most human. Like the teacher who inspired you because she cared deeply, the friend who sat with you for hours during your heartbreak, the parents who here have sacrificed for decades for their children, the activist who refuses to surrender even on pain of death, the scientist whose curiosity overcomes failure after failure. Human greatness emerges from struggle. That's why the great works of literature endure. They don't portray flawless human beings. Hemingway once wrote, "The world breaks everyone, and afterward many are strong at the broken places." Leonard Cohen put this insight into lyrics when he sang, "There is a crack in everything. That is how the light gets in." Our imperfections are not flaws to eliminate. They're sources of empathy, creativity, wisdom, resilience, beauty. A machine may someday write a technically flawless symphony, but it will never know the anguish of Beethoven, who composed his Ninth Symphony, one of the greatest pieces of music ever written, when he was almost completely deaf. When we listen to the Ninth Symphony, what moves us is not the arrangement of notes. It is the sorrow, perseverance, and triumph of a composer determined to create transcendent sounds that he would never hear. That is why human intelligence matters. Not because it's faster than AI, it's not. Not because it's more efficient, it's not. Because it is embedded consciousness, emotion, morality, memory, relationships, lived experiences. Machines may help solve problems, but human intelligence still decides what is worth solving, valuing, protecting, building, sacrificing for. Your generation will live through extraordinary technological change. AI will transform medicine, science, education, transportation, perhaps every profession represented here today. Some jobs will change, entire industries will evolve. But through all of this disruption, humans will still hunger for what only humans can provide. People will still want human beings to teach their children, to help them overcome illness and pain, to console them in moments of grief, to lead them in times of crisis, to make art that is about our human condition. And perhaps most importantly, people will still want to matter to one another. At life, human life is relational. We engage with other humans for better or worse. We seek recognition, dignity, affection, and love from other human beings. We cannot get that from a computer, no matter how powerful. Sometimes we think we can, but the data is now overwhelming and clear. Too much engagement with computers and phones makes us lonely and sad. As the scholar... As the scholar Sherry Turkle notes in her book, Alone Together, great title, by the way, we have embraced technology and received the illusion of companionship without the demands or rewards of true friendship. So my hope for you is that instead of competing with AI on its own terms, AI prompts you to become more fully human. So cultivate judgment, not just information, wisdom, not expertise, courage, not just confidence. Cultivate friendships and community. Learn how to build trust, how to forgive, how to laugh. Because in the end, what we will treasure most may not be flawless intelligence, but imperfect humanity. So of course, let's all use AI to cure diseases, expand knowledge, improve productivity, solve problems once thought unsolvable. But let's also use AI to illuminate the astonishing distinctiveness of the human mind. That 3-pound organ capable of mathematics and music, logic and love, memory and ambition, compassion. And so, graduates of Bard, as you leave this extraordinary institution and enter a world transformed by AI, I hope you will also become champions of HI, human intelligence, human imagination, human inspiration, human interconnection. Celebrate the gloriously imperfect human minds, because our imperfections are not bugs in some system's code. They are the cracks that let the light come in. To the class of 2026, congratulations and Godspeed.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Fareed, and I think the class of 26 will join me in saying that they should be objects of envy because not all commencement speeches are as good. Before we proceed with the awarding of degrees, I want to recognize two groups that are crucial to the college and to the college's future. The first are members of the Board of Trustees. Those of you here today, please stand. I thank them for the privilege of these past 5 decades. But the most important constituency, apart from students, are the people who taught you. The people with whom you did a senior project, the people who are on your moderation board, the classes you had to take but didn't want to take, and the people you got to know by living in this community. And what distinguishes us is the quality and commitment of our faculty. So the members of the faculty who are here, please stand to receive the thanks of the class of 2026. Now, in order to survive this afternoon, I commend this red book to you. And the red book, if you open it up, will, after you get through the graduate degrees, which we gave this morning, you will see the awards that were given last night to Olivia Carino, great friend, and whose husband, Laszlo Bito, was an alumnus and a great scientist and very generous to the college. To Audrey Lasher Smith, who has worked here longer than I have. And her father and mother worked here as well, and who has retired, and we honor her for her work. And the John and Samuel Bard Medal in Science that went to A.B. Bernard for the class of 1981, and Matthew De Gennaro, the class of 1996. And then the Kellogg Medal in the Arts went to Yusuf Kirkour, the actor, from the class of 2000. And then the Dewey Award for Distinguished Service went to Eva Marie Quinones from the class of 2017 and Kevin Barbosa, class of 2018. They were the two lawyers, alumni, who helped us get Ali out of ICE. The Mary McCarthy Award went to Mary Lynn Robinson, the great essayist and writer, and the Bardeen Award for a faculty member who's retiring, to our colleague of many years standing who was crucial to the building of the computer science program here, Sven Anderson. Now, as you proceed in the Red Book, you will come to the next order of business, which is the granting of honorary degrees. And the, that doesn't mean that they're not earned. They just didn't earn them here. But the honorary degrees are a mirror of many of your aspirations. We try to choose them in a way that can mirror back what you yourself would like to achieve when you leave an institution of learning. Our first honorary degree by tradition is given to the commencement speaker, so I'd like to ask Fareed Zakaria, Brandon Weber, the chair of the board, Jonathan Becker, executive vice president of the college, and the director of the Center for Civic Engagement, and Daniel Mendelsohn, the Charles Randlett Flint Professor of Humanities, to present Fareed Zakaria for an honorary degree.
President Botstein, I have the honor of presenting Fareed Zakaria as a candidate for an honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters.
We honor you, Fareed Zakaria, as a journalist in print and on screen of extraordinary erudition, for your masterful grasp of political, social, and economic complexities, and for your even-temperedness and refusal to toe any party line. Your focus in your best-selling books on the nature of American democracy and the uses and abuses of state power is more important than ever. And your optimism about the future, despite your keen awareness of the challenges we face, is a beacon for us all.
For those of you who have not been through this before, our charter dates from the 19th century, so the degrees are in Latin. So I give you the following citation, which is Auctoritate mihi commissa, theatralum in litteris humaniboribus, doctoris admitto, omniaque jura ac privilegia ad hum gradum petitentio tibi concedo, in et testimonium hoc diploma tibi solemniter trado. I now introduce for the first of two alumni, Barbara Grossman, trustee from the class of 1973, and Tabitha Ewing, from the class of 1989, an associate professor of history, who will present Jack Arthur Blum for the honorary degree.
President Botstein, I have the honor of presenting Jack Arthur Blum, class of 1962, as a candidate for an honorary degree of Doctor of Laws and Alumni and Alumnae honorary degree.
You have been a tireless crusader against corruption bred from concentrated economic power. You have devoted your life and legal career to fighting malfeasance and fraud. You are a model citizen, a consistent and effective actor in the public interest, and you exemplify all of the values to which this college aspires.
Auctoritate mihi commissa, te ad gradum in litteris humaniboribus doctoris admitto, omniaque jura ac privilegia, ad hunc gradum petitentia tibi concedo, et in testimonium hoc diploma tibi solemniter trado. Congratulations. Now, Fareed mentioned Holy Cow. And Pat Bowman, who is the founder and owner of it, this is one of her big weekends, and she's by nature shy. So I'm very grateful to Audrey, who actually went to school with her and grew up with her, who will accept the degree in her stead. So I'm asking Audrey Lasher Smith from the class of 1978, and Colleen Murphy, class of 2000, and Vice President for Administration, who will present Pat Bowman for the honorary degree.
President Botstein, I have the honor of presenting Patricia L. Bowman in absentia as a candidate for the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters.
We honor you indirectly as a true pillar of the community and for building and maintaining what is truly a unique place, Holy Cow Ice Cream. It is a business that hails from a local family's desire to provide a source of delight to others, and it remains steadfast in its devotion to all the people it serves. I don't think it's ever raised its prices, actually. Particularly Bard's Red Hook neighbors, supporting youth sports leagues, raising money for local charities, employing high school students, and celebrating the New York Yankees. You make Red Hook a sweeter and more humane community. Give Pat our very best. I now call Robert E. Fililov, Hillary Pennington, and trustee of the college, and Max Kenner, class of 2001, vice president of the college and the executive director of the Bard Prison Initiative.
Max!
President Botstein, it is my honor to present to you Robert E. Fullalove, Dr. Bob, as a candidate for the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters.
Robert E. Fullalove, Doctor of Humane Letters, we honor you for your lifelong pursuit of justice, commitment to science, and understanding that democracy and education are crucial to the defense of truth. Since 2011, under your guidance, more than 500 Bard Prison Initiative students have studied public health, and many have gone on to complete graduate degrees. Your contributions to public health, access to higher education, particularly for adults, and to the college have been extraordinary.
Actoritate mihi commissa te ad gradum in litteris humanivoribus doctoris admitto, omni aqua iura a privilegia ad un gradum petitentia tibi concedido, et in testimonium hoc diploma tibi solemniter trado. Congratulations. I now ask Mary Louise Hessel and Tom Eckel, the Executive Director of the Center for Curatorial Studies, to come forward to present the honorary degree to Marlise Hessel.
President Botstein, I have the honor of presenting Mary Louise Hessel as a candidate for the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters.
You have dedicated the past 36 years to Bard College's Center for Curatorial Studies, a jewel in the crown of Bard, which you co-founded in 1990, and which houses your extraordinary art collection, archival holdings, and the Hessel Museum. Path-breaking shows, major catalogs, and books, and student exhibitions that use CCS's 2,300 works have made CCS Bard, under your close guidance, the finest training ground for curators in the world. CCS graduates go on to lead museums and contemporary art spaces in North America, Europe, Asia, and Latin America. They are the finest tribute to your leadership and philanthropy. And I thank you for many decades of friendship. I now call forward Raymond Peterson, Lucas Pipes from the class of 2008 and Bard College trustee, and Siska Brustert, the principal of Bard High School, Early College in the Bronx.
President Botstein, I have the honor of presenting Raymond Peterson as a candidate for the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters.
Raymond Peterson, Doctor of Humane Letters. As the founding principal of Bard High School, Early College, Manhattan, 25 years ago, you realized the vision of early college education, where students from every background are met with the dignity and kindness that treats younger adolescents as young adults. For more than a quarter century, you have worked to extend the early college model to a wide and diverse student body. We honor you for that legacy, Bard's network of early colleges in 6 cities and the Hudson Valley, 4 in New York City, that offer tuition-free and exemplary liberal arts high school and college education, leading to a Bard AA degree. You may be the finest school leader in Bard's history.
Actoritate mihi commissa te ad gradum in litteris hominvoribus doctoris admitto, omni aquae jure a privilegia ad hum gradum petitentia tibi concedo, et in testimonium hoc diploma tibi solemnitado. Thank you. I now ask Oliver Rothkolb, James von Klemper, Bard College trustee, and Nathaniel Aschenbrenner, Assistant Professor of History, to present the next honorary degree.
President Botstein, I have the honor of presenting Oliver Rothkolb as a candidate for the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters.
Oliver Rothkolb, Doctor of Humane Letters. You were born in Vienna the year that Austria emerged from Allied administration after World War II and attained full sovereignty as a state, and are now one of the most authoritative and judicious voices writing and teaching about Austrian history, culture, and politics. Your advocacy for a new commitment to transparency and truth in history, to democracy and ethical international collaboration, points a way to a new future to be built from our disquieting past and present.
Auctoritata mi commissa ter gradum in litteris humanioribus doctoris admitto omni aqua jura ac privilegia atum gradum petitentia tibi concedo et in testimonium hoc diploma tibi solemne trato. Congratulations. I now call forward Thomas Rosenbaum, Catherine Bond Hill, trustee of the college, and Clara Sousa Silva, assistant professor of physics.
President Botstein, I have the honor of presenting Thomas F. Rosenbaum as a candidate for the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters.
Thomas Rosenbaum, Doctor of Humane Letters. We honor you, a physicist of exceptional vision, for your dedication to the intellectual magic in the conduct of research in basic science. You have pioneered our understanding of the quantum mechanical nature of materials at temperatures near absolute zero, and as president of the California Institute of Technology, you have been a tireless patron of innovative scientific research and the place of vigorous science in public policy. Through your advocacy for the civilizing power of discovery, you remind us that the quest for truth is indispensable to freedom and humanity.
Auctoritata mihi commissa, te ad gradum in litteris humanioribus doctoris admitto, omniaque jura ac privilegia, at gradum petitentia tibi concedo, et in testimonium hoc diploma tibi solemne trado. Thank you and congratulations. I now ask Christopher Gibbs, our James Ottaway Professor of Music and Conservatory faculty member here and co-director of the Bard Music Festival, and Charles Johnson, class of 1970, trustee of the college, to present Elaine Sisman for the honorary degree.
President Botstein, I have the honor of presenting Elaine Sisman as a candidate for the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters.
Elaine Sisman, Doctor of Humane Letters. You are an eloquent defender of the humanities and the place of music and its history in higher education. You are an eminent scholar of the classical era with a particular focus on the music of Haydn, Mozart, and Beethoven. As a teacher, you bring the same breadth, generosity, and rigor that distinguish your scholarship to students at every level. We honor you especially for your deep commitment to the undergraduate education and scholarly excellence in the university.
Auctoritata mihi commissa, te ad gradum in litteris humanioribus doctoris admitto, omniaque jura ac privilegia, ad hunc gradum petitentia tibi concedo, et in testimonium hoc diploma tibi solemne trado. Congratulations. And our second alumni degree, I now ask, as Elizabeth Eli, class of 65, and Bard trustee, Dumaine Williams, class of 2003, to present the next honorary degree.
President Botstein, I have the honor of presenting Catherine E. Stein, class of 1966, as a candidate for the honorary degree of Doctor of Science.
Katie, we honor you for your expertise in immunology and in particular in the use of monoclonal antibodies in drug therapies. Your work has led to the development of innovative medicines for the treatment of infectious diseases, autoimmune disorders, and cancer, as well as a technique used in vaccines against severe bacteria that cause pneumonia and meningitis. We salute your contribution to the science of biology and the cause of public health.
Actoritate mi commissa, teat gradum in litteris humaniborius doctors admitto, omniaque jura ac privilegia atum gradum petitentia tibi concedo, et in testimonium hoc diploma tibi solemne trado. Congratulations. And now I call forward Richard Wilson and Joan Tower, the Asher B. Edelman Professor of the Arts, and in the Conservatory of Music as well, to present Richard Wilson for the honorary degree.
President Botstein, I have the honor of presenting Richard Wilson as a candidate for the honorary degree of Fine Arts.
We honor you, Richard Wilson, for how you have enriched musical life, particularly here in the Hudson Valley. As an imaginative and brilliantly versatile composer, an uncommonly sensitive and inspired pianist, an incredibly funny lecturer, and a legendary teacher, you have touched countless hearts and minds in the course of your 50 years as the leading voice in the music department at Vassar College. Your contributions to the Bard Music Festival, American Symphony Orchestra, since 1990s have been inspired and decisive. Actoritate mihi commissa teat gradum artibus elegantoribus doctoris admitto, omniaque jura ac privilegia atum gradum petitentia tibi concedo, et in testimonium hoc diploma tibi solemniter trado. Congratulations.
President Botstein, I have the honor of presenting you as a candidate for the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters. Beginning when he was not yet 30 years old, President Botstein has inspired, built, and fiercely defended what became, on his watch, arguably the most distinctive liberal arts college in our nation, committed to serving the public good, and whose campus today includes architecturally significant buildings, by Frank Gehry, Maya Lin, and other world-renowned architects that are a testament to his vision. Bard's commitment to academic excellence and a rigorous curriculum, from the arts to the experimental sciences, stand out in today's higher education landscape of few requirements and inflated grades. Bard High School early colleges have enlarged the opportunities available to talented high school students in under-resourced communities across the country. The Bard Prison Initiative has made a liberal arts education available to incarcerated learners hungry for meaning and hope in their lives. Bard's superb music programs, its internationally recognized Fisher Center for the Performing Arts, and its Center for Curatorial Studies offer unparalleled interdisciplinary education in the arts. Bard College Berlin and Bard's international programs offer such an education across the world to students from places where access to a liberal arts education is otherwise suppressed or unavailable. Starting decades ago with limited resources, President Botstein has led Bard towards all these achievements and more. Over time, his tireless fundraising allowed the institution to reach more communities and students with financial need. Recently, aided by a generous match from the Open Society Foundations, he completed a boldly ambitious endowment campaign that goes a long way towards securing Bard's future. We are grateful for his willingness to continue to serve as President Emeritus and to support the institution that has been his life for 51 of his 80 years, almost 80 years. We offer our congratulations and profound thanks to President Botstein, the most transformative leader in the recent history of American higher education. I'm afraid I'm going to have to pass on the Latin.
I'm very grateful and totally surprised. I can't believe we were able to keep a secret in the institution without it leaking out. I had no idea this was afoot, but I want to thank the trustees and the others involved in this for this very touching gesture. I want to apologize to the class of 2026, but since you will always hold a special place in my life, since you're the last class over which I will have the honor of presiding, I'm going to read my charge to you, and I'm grateful for your willingness to hear me out. I've therefore decided to base my charge to you on a passage from the Bible. After all, Bard owes its existence to an act of abiding religious faith on the part of John and Margaret Bard. Their faith in God was deepened by their grief at the death of their young son, Willie. Their response to tragedy did not take the form of rage at the world, but the opposite, the determination to transform their loss into a gift designed to make the world better. They built 2 churches and founded this college. Few passages from the Bible are more famous than the first 8 verses of Ecclesiastes. You heard these verses in the Old Testament reading at last week's baccalaureate. I'm returning to them at this commencement. So you can follow this, you'll know how close I am to the end. Verse 1, to everything there is a season and a time to everyone's purpose under the heaven. This is a way of measuring you, and that as you take a look back, despite the ups and downs, this was the right time for you to be in college, to engage learning to help shape your ambitions, to deepen your knowledge and strengthen your skills. The best time to learn is when you're young and naturally passionate and energetic. You will be young for a long time. So go on learning, expanding, and pursuing your curiosity. Keep your capacity for surprise and discovery alive. Try things that may appear neither practical or conventional. Ignore conventional wisdom. Don't imitate. In the pursuit of knowledge, be courageous. If you wait too long, you might lose the motivation, the will, or even the ability to achieve what you once dreamed of. The second verse, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. We have no influence on when or where we are born and who our parents are. Nonetheless, this blunt fact seems never to have deterred us from complaining about our lives and the times we are living in. No doubt, things around us today are bad. There's far too much injustice, inequality, and cruelty. And yes, the job market doesn't look promising. But circumstances were never entirely cheery or perfect. No graduating class in history left college without trepidation. Resist nostalgia and don't compare the present with a mythic construct of a vanished better past. The present is your moment and embrace it. We may be facing the nadir of democracy and freedom in America and a high watermark of corruption and cruelty in our politics, but resolve to do something about it. Would any of us have preferred to have been 21 in the 1940s during World War II or 1950s during the Cold War and the era of anti-communist hysteria and a witch hunt? Was the world better before the advent of modern medicine that resulted in vaccines and our continuing expanding capacity to combat disease? If the necessity to fight injustice and suffering seems greater, so too is the opportunity to contribute. As for the time to die, put that question out of your mind. Don't speculate about your destiny. Suppress any tendency to hypochondria. And don't mask the process of aging. Just take good care of yourselves and don't be frightened about the inevitable risks of living. As to a time for planting, this suggests not everything you undertake will work out. Do not be derailed by disappointment and failure. Keep planting. You're still at a point in life where mistakes are more easily reversed. You can afford to change, shift your careers, or even your convictions. Even though you invested time and effort, don't stick to something simply because you started it. The third verse, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down, a time to build up. The Bible notwithstanding, I'm not certain there is ever a time to kill. Wars may be a necessity, certainly not the one we are waging with Iran or Russia's war on Ukraine. And I'm not certain there is such a thing as a so-called just war. Killing may be necessary, but don't delude yourself that is ever right. Revenge is no justification. It is scandalous that the death penalty still exists in our country. amidst a politics where the purported right to life of the unborn takes precedence over the rights of the living. The opposite applies to healing. Only for the very old who have lost the will to live or the capacity to express that will might healing be withheld legitimately. Every waking hour we possess is a time for healing ourselves and others physically and emotionally, especially by restoring bonds with others that may have been broken. Practice forgiveness. As to breaking down things, that's an experience none of us can escape. We're all fallible, imperfect, and capable of being wrong. Abandoning something and unraveling mistakes opens spaces for progress, for the changing of unjust laws, bringing down authoritarian governments, and stamping out greed and corruption. Respond to the vacuum of virtue around us by breaking down things that are not right, and by sharing opportunities with those who otherwise would not have had them. This has been a general goal of your alma mater. The motivation behind the early college, high schools, the programs in prisons and micro-colleges, the scholarships we give, and our welcoming of refugees, the undocumented, and displaced students. The fourth verse, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. We all experience loss and therefore grief. Don't be afraid. Pain can be overcome by expressing it. Recovery can be a path to a life marked by wisdom, gratitude, and generosity. No matter how grim life seems, never lose your sense of humor. Laughing can lead to hope. The joy of laughing is more restrained than dancing, just as mourning is more intense than weeping. The graver the disappointment and loss, the more powerful is the consolation offered by music, dancing, poetry, and the comedy we create. The fifth verse, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. This verse suggests that you should shed grievances and resentments and extend empathy to those with whom you disagree or think you despise, just as there are times when you must defend yourself and gather all the strength you can to protect yourself from danger, slander, unexamined criticism, and from those who seek to do you harm. Seize the moments in life when you should reach out to others in friendship and affection. Beware of hypocrites and insincerity. For friendship, much less love, to hold meaning, it can't be casual or indiscriminate. Don't cheapen expressions of affection. Make them represent more than mere words. A time to get, that's verse 6, a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to cast away. There will be moments of both success and failure, moments, events, goals, objects you once thought were valuable and suddenly seem meaningless. Don't be thrown by these twists and turns. Be prepared to let go as easily as you once held on. Loss can open up a new path and lead to a new and sometimes better life. The seventh verse, a time to rend, a time to sow, a time to keep silence, and a time to speak. Tearing a garment is a traditional way of demonstrating grief to others. Surgery, the cutting of the body, is required to save a life. But more important are the moments where we show our neighbors and the world around us that we seek to repair the broken and torn. Something that has been visibly fixed, sewn together where it was once ripped, bears witness to our ability to intervene and rebuild lives and communities. As to silence, it is justified if silence is opposite. Speaking is motivated by ignorance, uncertainty, cowardice, and ideological fanaticism. Silence, however, should be motivated never by fear, particularly fear of what others around you might think. Silence is a virtue, even a necessity, to protect privacy, to avoid betraying others, and for keeping secrets that no one else deserves to know, and whose protection might prevent injury to others. The terrifying invasion of our personal lives by algorithms, surveillance, and the manipulation of opinions through social media, and an undisciplined press motivated by profit must be fought. Resist the spread of falsehoods, prejudice, and rumors. A society where there is no privacy can never be free. Discretion and restraint are essential to a humane community. They nurture the best aspects of our flawed selves. Yet to keep silent and not to speak out against unmistakable injustice, oppression, and the abuse of power is cowardice. It enables wrongdoing. Stand up for what you know to be right, always remembering that your facts and beliefs might be wrong and your knowledge incomplete. Matters are not as self-evident as they seem. The rush to judgment can be cruel. Just because you hold an opinion and you feel righteous about it doesn't make it right. Gossip, rumors, ignorance, advertising, and falsehoods now shape public opinion. Ecclesiastes suggests that there is an obligation to speak out when there is evidence of injustice, and you can find responsibility in an individual that can be assigned by evidence and the application of the rule of law. And the last verse, a time to love and a time to hate, a time to win, a time of war and a time of peace. In American English, no word is more overused than love, yet our life is dominated by the space between love and hate. Most of life resides in actions that demand forgiveness in the in-between space, understanding and compromise that turn out to be neither absolutely good or evil. There is never room for hate. For hate leads to blindness, particularly about ourselves. We all possess redeeming features. Envy is a form of hate, so too is jealousy. Moralizing with self-righteousness promotes the illusion of human perfection and the absence of humility. Resist the emotional fury hating brings, and don't take pleasure at someone else's pain. Remember that if you want to make your mark in the world, and you will take risks, you will commit errors, you will force to embrace compromise and acknowledge the inability to be consistent and always right. Once we accept the complexity of ourselves and encourage our better natures, we will discover that hate and violence never succeed and can rapidly turn into war. Wars yield ephemeral victories, not peace. We only have time for peace, and peace in our lives that can be achieved only by thought, dialogue, reason, and placing truth and empathy in the foreground, celebrating that which we all share and hold in common. Your alma mater has shown itself to be in the forefront of thinking, learning, and understanding. These can replace the facile emotional rewards of inflicting harm and hating others. The college hopes that it has given you the means to expand your understanding of the world and the interconnections between the good, the true, and the beautiful, and to avoid fear of the unknown and prejudice against the unfamiliar. Speak in the service of the discovery and defense of truth and justice. That will inspire you to extend kindness to strangers, not only to those whom you resemble or feel close to, without the expectation of any reward. In the spirit of this college, work towards a more just and peaceful future in which the highest achievements of the human species, the work of our imaginations in everything from art to science, flourish. I urge the class of 2026, soon to become alumni of Bard College, to cherish what makes the college distinctive and its idealism about the interconnections between learning and life. Celebrate the gifts each of you have shown in your years here, the joy of thinking, imagining and creating, the thrill of discovery, and the laughter and the delight that art and science and the study of all things inspire in our pursuit of life. As the years go by, all too quickly, the college will need your help. It has been an honor and a privilege to share these years with you, and I wish you the courage, resilience, and patience necessary for great thoughts and deeds. Congratulations. And I think now we come to the reason you're here. So the first order of business permits me to call to the podium Megan Callahan, who is a senior member of the BPI and Micro College staff. Megan. If the class of 26 will permit me, I'm going to ask Dumaine Williams. Where is Dumaine? Come forward. And I'm going to give him the privilege of handing out the degrees. They're going to bring out with me, they're going to bring out a chair. So I'll be 80 in December, and so I'll stand next to Dumaine, and we'll proceed with the granting of degrees.
We will now present candidates for the Associate in Arts degree. Each of the following students enrolled and completed a degree through the Bard Prison Initiative or Bard Microcolleges at one of 10 campuses. The BPI students being conferred a bachelor's degree will be recognized later in the ceremony. We will celebrate the 24th commencement of the Bard Prison Initiative over the next month at Eastern and Albion Correctional Facilities. Yakin Abdash. Mark Acevedo. Destiny Bermudez. Natasha Brenjek. Tanisha Demand Butler. Jalal A. Chavez. Christina Sislak. Terrence T. Cole in absentia. Danielle Janae Cohen. Raven David. Cassiria Davis Hughes. Luisa Correa Gomez de Brito. Grace Francis. Todd Graham. Christiana Haramut. Jaden Patrice Harvey. Moremi Hernandez. Joel Hernandez in absentia. Lawrence Christopher Hunter. Day Up Kim. Sarah Klein in absentia. Josephine Emily Lloyd. Angelica Lopez. Janine Julbriana Mattis. Katya McCombs in absentia. Nikisha Natoya McCoy. Dax B. Medina. Ruth Medina. Tess Nelson. Roy Nieves. Dugo Padir Erduk. Supreme Phillips.
Before reading the next name, let us pause to recognize the degree candidate, Alan Lee Porter, who is with us today to celebrate the degree and also his freedom after serving for 34 years in prison, all while maintaining all the while maintaining his innocence. Mr. Porter was freed when his conviction was overturned in January 2025. Please join me in welcoming him to the campus and congratulating him, along with his family, on this extraordinary occasion.
Alan Lee Porter. Stefan D. Price. Kit Reeves. Elizabeth Roque in absentia. Naran Sakar. Taryn Smith. Vincent Terrell Suarez in absentia. Fule Tandiagora Abdullah in absentia. Kelberlin Isabel Tejeda. Huivan Young.
I now introduce Jonathan Becker, Vice President for Academic Affairs, who will present candidates for the American University of Central Asia who've completed the requirements for the master's and bachelor's degrees as prescribed by the state of New York and the faculty and trustees of Bard College.
Thank you. Today, 46 sanctuary students will graduate from Bard. These students come from Afghanistan, Ukraine, Russia. Can I ask those sanctuary students to rise, please? Globally, all on the campus, we have nearly 100 sanctuary students, which also includes places like South Sudan, Syria, and Myanmar. Globally, we educate more than 2,000 displaced students and refugees in places like Parami University in exile from Myanmar, American University of Afghanistan in exile from Afghanistan, our hubs for connected learning in Kenya and Bangladesh, and Al-Quds Bard College of Arts and Sciences in Palestine. No American colleges has been more supportive of displaced and refugee students than Bard College, and no American college president has been more supportive of displaced and refugee students than Leon Botstein, who himself is a refugee. Before introducing these 13 students who come from the American University of Central Asia, I do want to note that our hearts must be with the 75 students in American University of Central Asia from Afghanistan who were not allowed to come to the United States, as was their right when the Trump administration withdrew their travel and their right to citizenship. And I also want to speak of the many women who are still in Afghanistan who have lost their right and their opportunity to education, which is a tragedy for the Afghan people and for humanity. So now to our 13 students from the American University of Central Asia in Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan, which is having its graduation 2 weeks from today. When President Botstein asked about people coming 550 or 100 miles, I was laughing. These students have come from places like Kabul and Kandahar, and went to Suleimania in Iraq, and Doha in Qatar, and Islamabad in Pakistan, then to Bishkek in Kyrgyzstan, then to the United States. Then they studied at night to finish their BAs and MAs. They are a testament to the commitment to higher education which Bard and the American University of Central Asia possess, and we are so proud of them. So without further ado, Mohammed Fahim Ahmadzai. Froch Nazari, in absentia. Oh no, here. Syed Mahdi Alavi. Nazratullah Arifi. Hayatullah Habibi. We're having alphabetical issues. When they come this far, just a few more minutes. Sohrab Babrak. Mansoura Bakhshi, in absentia. Helen Isgo. Syed Milad Fakhri. Nargis Hussaini. Soliha Zahir. Ahmed Suhaid Majid. Hosai Said.
I now introduce John Weinstein, Provost of Simon's Rock, who will present the 2026 Simon's Rock candidates who have completed their BA degrees. John Weinstein.
Thank you. When most of today's BA graduates from Simon's Rock earned their associate's degree, generally 2 years ago, they had no idea they'd be completing their bachelor's degree here in Annandale. Simon's Rock relocated this year, and these students were models of academic excellence, artistic brilliance, unstoppable determination, and plenty of rocker spirit. It is a great honor to read their names today in 2026, which also marks the 60th year of the founding of Simon's Rock by visionary educator and amazing woman, Elizabeth Blodgett Hall. Harlan Abrams. Arman Adabi. Reza Afzali. Laila Bijani. Cyrus Blake. Rory Alice Kraus. Joey Ryan Gunter. Sahira Joshi. Arnav Kalavagunta.
Kyle Ian Liu. Ben Onime. Alisher Kosimov. Isabella Vivian. Bonabel Scrap Zalitsky.
We now come to the event you've been waiting for. I want to recognize Deirdre Delber, the Vice President and Dean of the College, Professor of English, who will present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Music.
President Botstein, trustees, faculty, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to present the following members of the class of 2026 for the degrees of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Music. These candidates have completed all the requirements for this degree as prescribed by the state of New York and by the faculty and trustees of Bard College. Milal Abushi Asidon. Madeline Abeg. A.J. Abernathy. Alina Isabel Achenbach Schill. Arya Iman Ahmed. Hannah Rose Albert. Karamat Alimova in absentia. Sabrina Violet Aliodo. Ferris Al-Jamal. In absentia. Ahmad, no, he's here. Excuse me. No? Oh. Ferris, please. Ferris Al-Jamal. Ahmad Salman Al-Noor. Ani Alpert. Andrew Altrock. Matthew On. In absentia. Coco Chicha On. In absentia. Gerald Kurt Anderson. Leonardo Andrade. Cooper Andrews. Sabir Archer. Jamal Abdul Armstead. Sophia Elliott Arnold. Sydney Asher. Ivan Avalone. William Axelrod. Victoria Bagatchalon. Masak Bahar. In absentia, Maggie Bailey. Arghavan Bani. Luca Berenson Rossi. Isatu Berry. Natasha Bashor Walker in absentia. Stephen Bassler. Adeline Rose Bateman. Claire Valerie Bates in absentia. Ezra Alexander Beato. Leo Sophia Becker. Charlotte Behrens. Kay Ellen Van Dyke Bell. Atticus Belmonte. Sam Benjamin. Natalie Bergen. Charlotte Bear Birmingham. Trisha Bishen. Lexi Blackburn. Tatiana Blackhorse. Mason Lawrence Blank in absentia. Jamie Blois. Starla Bole. Ella Mary Bosworth Titicola. Ruthie Boom Boom. Adelaide Marie Brownhill. Carrie Oscar Brescher in absentia. Piper Brown. Gavin Burchett. Caitlin Campoverde. Jasmine Brooke Caperton. Pia Cardenas. Sophia Cardenas. Amdo Carey. Faith Carl. Declan Carney. Alicia Carroll. Anya Casey. Hazel Cash. Asher Cass. Danny Chen. Gabriel Chermak. Ginny Chen. Georgi Borislav Chikov. Isabel Chin. Tom Chitwood. Rin Chow. Plaque. Ethan Clark. Rodney Clark. Abby Clement. Cora Longworth Clum. Linus G. William Korsmeyer. Case Colby in absentia. Celeste Connell. Maya Connell. Nick Conway Drendel. Karina Sophia Cook. Cody Kuhn. Emilia Cooper in absentia. Yale Josie Cooper Smith. Marilyn Kate Corbett. Sophia Cornicello. Bella Correa. Autumn Cosden. Leela Craig. Pareen Ali Cummings. Jason Quick. Anthony D'Amore. Maya Davidova. Owen Denker. Caroline Huang Deer. Ulysse Derrienne. Chloe Desutel. Matthew DeRocher. Isabel Jade DeRoche. Ariana Sofia Diaz. Lucia Di Benedetto. Amelia Deneen. Ileana Isabel Ditrin Disla. Aislinn Dixon. Octavia Charlotte Donaldson. Shirley Dong. Danica Dortch. Savannah Laura and Khadija Dumbia. Gwyn May Downey. Mandela Dressler. Adelaide Driver. Nicholas Danger Drucker. Chris D'Souza. In absentia. Calder Duffy. Tika Shudor Duplessis. Robert Dupree. Liam Dwyer. Victor Simon Edmonds. Jessie Stella Elliott. Christian Gerald Emmanuel Womack. Tyler Epps. Uas Erasmus. Odin St. Jennifer Evans. Kanika Yetzova. Maitria Fabro. Oh, Maitria Fabro. Sligo Farrell. Maya Farwell. Jacob Ferris. Sophia Ferris. Peter Fields. Tyler John Figueroa. Anderson Fletcher. Breja Flett. Sierra Ford. Nick Franceschi. Dani Fu. Noah Harrison Galkin. Georgia Gallahue. Meredith Gardner. Kate Gavitt. Nora Geiger. Sam Gerber. Lucy Gersten. Nargis Ghaznavi. Zoe Gibson. Stephanie Giersch. Ruben Junta. Maya Jambalai in absentia. Joe Gluck. Jadiel Gomez Marin. Gavin Francisco Gonzalez in absentia. David Gorospa. Gabrielle Brabon Proto Gosnell.
Yeah, that's what Sonia said.
Where is it? Okay. Wait, where is it? Nitaya Goyal. Sawyer Jason Gracer. Travis Jude Green. Xander Greer. Reed Hennessy Grossman. Nicole Gruev. Cristobal Guerra. Belen Gutierrez. Ava Hadley. Amina Mona Haidari. Hamid Haidari. Aurora Hales. In absentia. Yuchin Han. Jacob Hare. Rachel Harris. Verda Hasonovich. Zainab Hashimi. Madeline Helford. Lilu Helly. Alyssa Elaine Henderson. Ellen Hurley. Madeline Amber Herring. Lily Yael Meredith Hess. Kiri Hetherington. Gustav Robert Hildebrand. Grace Hill. Davy Holdsworth. Abigail Hope. John Hopwood. Fatima Husseini. Elias Hotak. Paige Houghton. Vera Allegra Robb. Emily Shrai Huang. Avery Hutchins. Violet Hume. Zakia Hosseini. Ahmad Faisal Imran. Diba Imran. Rihanna Jennifer Isles Luga. Batul Jalal. Romy Jervis. Nikaya John Charles. Augustin Johnson. Natalie Johnson. Olivia Johnson Hall. Gigi Johnston. Audrey Deanna Jones. Freya Messenger Jones. Nia Jorbanadze. Carol Joseph. Julia Judakin. Dashelly Julia Ramirez. Marlena I. Jerko. Robin Kaikul. Amina Kanamatova. Eliza Karpiak. Sonia Kay. Norwood Sean Lamar Keaton. Juliet Kelly. Lucia Kepler. Asa Khalid. Lynn Leitzin Kent. Julia Kiernan. Yen Kim. Catriel Kirk. Zoe Jane Kurtzner. Katerina Klimanova. Athanasios Kostikas. Mia Krasic. Alex Kulik. Kylan Queckrup. Ji-Yu Kwan. Emma Saffron Locknett. Sam Lala. Julian Lannert. Lexi Grace Laney. Stephanie Lara Moreno. Willa Larson. Nyla Lawrence. Okay. You're Carl Adrian. Carl Adrian Love Lawson. Joanne Lee. Stanley Legan. Eleanor Elizabeth Leider in absentia. Anthony Salvatore Leo. Kaylin Leo Fields. Alex Leonard. Mia Lesjak. Felix Levesque. Anna Lewis. Quinn Lewis. Junyu Lin. Heidi Lind. Uyao Yolanda Leo. Jadora Lively. Brenda Lopez. Ilishka Lowenhauer Blauweis. Xiaoyin Lua. Cloris Yuchu Ma. Coco Macapia. David Mackay. Maya Makowitz. Maya Magnuski. Aida Malikova. Ethan Malpica Santiago. Husna Manilai. Charlotte Mandel. Rowan Marjoram. Olivia Marhevka. Ingrid Phyllis Martin. Carolina Martinez Cruz. Jonathan Adilio Martinez Garcia. Georgi Matitoshvili. Rio Melis Mall. Julia Mazurek. Phineas McCann. Andina Mariana McDonald. Ethan McCaig. Elijah McKelvey. Gabriel Medina Maldonado. Sahaba Mary. João Victor de Souza Melo. Lauren Mendoza. Sumia Meng in absentia. Nicole Meselson. Ryan Mitchke. Santiago Mires in absentia. Nathan Miller. Samantha Miller. Grace Eleanor Miller Traybold. Blake Finn Millwood in absentia. Mariam Mohibbi. Kiamu Makone. Andy Montes de Oca. Holly Moore. Ariela Morano. Kane Morgan. Habiba Musa. S. Nair. Joseph Villaluz Norte. Caleb Negron Laracuente. Valeria Neris.
At this time, I would like to ask all the bachelor's degree candidates who began their course of study through the Bard Prison Initiative to stand and be recognized. Each of these candidates earned their degrees through BPI. Some completed degree requirements in prison, but were released before graduating. Others completed their senior projects at home or studying in public libraries. And others still, like the following candidate, left prison and subsequently enrolled to complete coursework here on the main campus through the Bard Baccalaureate. Back, please join me in congratulating each of them.
Terrence Neesmith. Garrett Christopher Nooner. David Nichols. Jerry Jaroga. Shiro Dr. Olga. Alex Noble. Madeline Noonan. Mujtaba Nouri in absentia. Rodaba Nouri. Melina Nunez Gojado. Seda Noridova in absentia. Kai Joseph O'Donnell. Fiona Bridget Donnelly O'Halloran. Ava O'Hare. Alia Caridad Oliveira. Dahlia Olivo. Emmett Olson. Adriana Ondreka. Everest Oppenheimer. Ariel Orem Gao. Miles O'Rourke. Brendan Pahalik. Jordan Cornell Pomby. Nicola Paparella. In absentia. Isabella Papagallo. Ekaterina Parachenkova. Peyton Parker. Christopher Paulino. Tobias Pemsler in absentia. Kiara Arlene Pena. Alexandra Perkis. Ella Saul Liz Perlman. Javier Perez Pagan. Andres Eduardo Perez Rangel. Ella Grace Perot. Liam Ryder Peternow. Toby Peterson. Chaz Phillips. Eleanor Polak. Jonathan Pollard. Elizabeth Popoli. Nashua Poredo. Vivian Camille Poti. Trudy Pooks. Tahia Pracho. Willem Pretorius. Noah Protas. Emily Jane Quinn. Sasha Rabinowitz. Paulina Rafaelova. Rose Rahimi. Micah Rajakumar. Akira Ramkisun Perkins. Luca Katerina Raufer. Valeria Rajeva. Rochelle Redfield. Luke Redgate. Aisha Ariel Reese. McKenna Rose Reeves. Clarice Reichley. Daryl Ainsley Reed, in absentia. Adrian Morgan Remick. Maya Louise Remick. Cedric Wren, in absentia. Charlie Conway Reynolds. Sitara Razai. Brige Agnes Riley. Nicholas Rinaldi, in absentia. Oh, you're here. Nicholas Reynolds is here. Sorry. Nicholas Rinaldi. Rudy Roa, in absentia. Kathleen Robertson. Angel L. Rodriguez. Josephine Rogers. Honolulu Road. Jeremy Roja. Alicia Romaine. Francis Ronning. Samuel Rosa. Adriana Rosecrans. Ruby Rosenblatt. Trenton Rothbard. Selena Abby Royer. Azalea Russellon. Isabella Russo. In absentia, Milena Rybsova. Scout Saavedra Weisenhouse. Tara Kaur Satcher. Sayed Zubair Sadat. Alim Samad. Carol Samuel. Sebastian Sargenti. Rachel Scarborough. Brendan Schaff. Audrey Schleif. Sophia Bell Schubeck. Chloe Scottson. Lily Murray Seal. Julia Seaver. John Owen Setlick. Ariha Shahed. Safran Rain Sharifi. Sarah Rima Shine. Reese Scherf. Emerson Iris Sherman. Masoma Shoaib. Nicholas Xiao Clausen. J. Richard Siegel. Nicole Estefanie Sierra. Isabel Faith Simon. Samantha Simon. Arsen Simonian. Annalise Simons. Nicola Singband. Ella Gabrielle Small. Isaiah E. Smith. Elizabeth Sodermaholm. Ash Summerfield. Noah Sonnenstein in absentia. Charlie Sortino. Kate Spangler. Jude Spencer. Ada Ray Starbuck. Benjamin Steketee. Jingyi Sutherland. Rudy Sutton. Mark Joseph Zabo in absentia. Megumi Takahashi. Charlotte Louise Tample. Mia Tanezaki. Keta Tavad Kilotse. Gralisa Taveres Perez. Sunny Taylor. Joy Terentiev. Graciela Olive Thompson. Marisol Irene Thompson. Carly Noel Thornton. Robert James Thousand. Myrene Rizel Almeida Toledo. Isabella Tramposh. In absentia, Jeremy Treeland. Chris Yang. Evelyn Urist. Zane Vakaria. Iris Vanderloo. Greta Varga. Bambi Vargas. Viltis Varnelis. Evelyn Velasco. Zachary Velasco. Fatima Vidal Rivera. Ava Lucia Villegas. Grace Burrows Vining. Luca Vivas Nikonoro. Sofia Volchanina. Tess Dorothea von Brauchel. Jason von Studnitz. Ella Richard Walker. Ella Walco. Eli Wallace. Maggie Wallace. Taylor Garrett Wallace. Karen Waltuck. Kahan Wang. Jessica Ward. Kayson Waring. James Edward Washington. Timothy John Wigand in absentia. Noah Maxwell Weiss. Jonah Paz Waring. Sam Wheeler. Shosha Liliana Wheeler. Josie White. Rosa Whitaker. Aiden Weiss. T. Williams. In absentia, Virginia Williams. Rebecca Winton. James Wise. Ursula Giselle Wolf. Leah Wolk. Ernan Worth. Xing Tong Amy Xion. Min Shu Yong. Maggie Young, in absentia. Luca Youssef. Ethan Young. Pascal Schuyler Young. Suleiman Zafar Kil, in absentia. Carla Sarate. Eliza Zarkov. Clara Zakova. Francis Joe. Kira Zimmerman. And Jessica Zoll.
Will all the bachelor degree candidates please rise? All the bachelor degree candidates, please rise. Auctoritate mihi commissa vos ad gradus baccalaureum in artibus in musicae et scientiae admitto omniaque jura ac privilegia ad on gradus pertitentia vobis concedo et diplomia testimonium hoc diploma vobis solemniter trado. Congratulations. Will everyone please rise for the benediction?
To everything there is a season. Go forth with the gifts you've received. Go forth with the gifts you have to offer. Go forth with joy and with hope. Amen.
Applause.